He didn't even look up from his glass of whiskey when I spoke. Clause 14.2, I said. You should read it again. The rights revert if the transfer fee isn't specified. He chuckled, low, dismissive. You're a secretary, not a lawyer. Leave the contracts to the people who know what they're doing. I smiled, small and quiet. Of course. Then I walked out, heels silent on the marble floor, already calculating how to turn his arrogance into my opening move. Backstory setup. Then versus now. When I joined the company, it was barely staying afloat. I was 23, fresh out of a temp agency, answering phones in a windowless room. But I listened, I learned, and I made myself indispensable, keeping schedules tight, smoothing over deals, catching errors before they burned us. The CEO, Mr. Harrington, liked to think of himself as a self-made genius. In reality, he stood on the shoulders of people like me, people who caught the cracks before the whole thing split apart. For years, I warned him about risks, found solutions before problems hit his desk. And for years, he patted my head metaphorically, like I was a loyal dog. Until the day I realized loyalty to him meant nothing. Discovery of betrayal. The betrayal came in the form of a memo, accidentally printed to my machine. It was a staffing restructure list. My name was at the bottom, next to the word replace. After a decade of service, after building the trust of every major client we had, he was pushing me out. Why? Because his new executive assistant was younger, louder, and would nod at his bad ideas without question. The memo also mentioned the upcoming acquisition of a small tech firm, the $90 million deal he'd been bragging about for months. And there it was, Clause 14.2, the one he'd just dismissed in my presence. It was a reversion clause. If the rights transfer fee wasn't explicitly stated in the preliminary agreement, anyone could buy them for $1 before closing. I didn't cry, I didn't argue, I just made a decision. Shift in mindset. The plan. That night, I called an attorney I trusted, someone who owed me a favor from years back. I sent him the contract. He confirmed what I suspected. The clause was real and enforceable. It was a loophole the size of a freight train, and Harrington hadn't seen it because he was too busy congratulating himself. The plan was simple. Purchase the rights quietly, register them under a holding company with my name nowhere visible, and wait. I set up the LLC in less than 24 hours, filed the paperwork with the tech firm's Secretary of State, wired exactly $1. By the end of the week, my holding company owned the rights Harrington thought he was buying. Heck, execution of the plan. For 2 months, I kept my head down, booking his flights, scheduling his meetings, bringing him coffee exactly how he liked it. I was invisible to him, exactly where I wanted to be. Behind the scenes, I secured the tech firm's goodwill. I met with their board, presented myself as a silent backer who valued their independence. They were tired of Harrington's arrogance and liked the idea of someone who understood their business. When the day of the acquisition came, the boardroom was full. Harrington in his tailored suit, investors buzzing, the air thick with the smell of money about to change hands. I sat in the corner, taking notes like always. Until the lead lawyer announced, "We can't transfer the rights. They were purchased 2 months ago." Harrington's head snapped toward me like a predator sensing a trap too late. "Who?" he demanded. The lawyer slid a document across the table. A holding company name, my attorney's signature, the $1 receipt. "This is impossible," he growled, turning to me. You did this?" I looked up, calm, unblinking. "You told me I was a secretary, not a lawyer, but you forgot. I can read." Gasps, silence, investors shifting in their seats. I stood, closing my notebook. You tried to erase me. Instead, I erased your deal, and now I own the rights you need. He was pale, sweating, cornered. "What do you want?" he spat. "Nothing from you," I said, "but I imagine the tech firm will want to renegotiate with me." Resolution: the release. I walked out to the sound of raised voices and the collapse of his $90 million dream. By the end of the week, the deal was dead. His investors pulled funding. His board called for an emergency vote. The tech firm? They signed with me, on my terms. Within 6 months, I had equity, control, and a seat at a table Harrington never imagined I'd reach. Sometimes revenge is loud, a public spectacle. Mine was quiet. A single signature, a single dollar, and the patience to let arrogance do the rest.